Hello guys, my name's Bones88. Today I'm here to give you in my opinion, the top 10 worst characters in Dragon Champions. When I came up with this list, it was no thing in particular, just the characters I thought that were least used in the game and have no real use at this moment in time. So let's jump right into it. Okay, first off, let's go with Shaolin. Shaolin is a panda. Um, Once again, he's just no real use in the game. Um, there's several other pandas you can use besides him. His kit's kind of cool. He hits for several times. He increases the accuracy by 15% and 5% for each living panda, which isn't that great really to me. But like here, he'll hit an enemy target 7 times, and each attack deals 100% of the physical damage. The thing is, he just doesn't hit that hard. I think if you took him all the way to Gear 11, 7-star, ruined him out of God runes, I think he would be okay, like a decent character. But there's so many other pandas that if you had him at the same level, Gear 11, 7-star, and all that, they would be better than Shaolin. And I think he's just, he's not that strong. He's kind of a wet noodle where he dies very quickly. And honestly, I don't know anyone that really uses him. I've never had a desire to get him. He's pretty easily farmable, and I still went the other route and farmed like Lake or other ones that are in the store. And and then I got Ember also, and so you could put stuff into him and probably use him in the Panda event, but to me he's just not good. He's one of the worst characters, I feel like. I don't think he's that good. Everyone I've talked to doesn't think that he's that good. So, do not farm Shaolin. He's just one of the worst characters in the game at this moment. Next up, I want to go ahead and do Old Lore. Old Lore is a goblin, and the goblins are one of the best factions in the game. So, you can't hurt and get Old Lore, but he just is to me, he's the worst goblin. There's so many other goblins you could farm that I just don't recommend farming him. His kit's bad too. He has synergy with elves. I'm not sure why, but and I think he's like a wet noodle also. Here's some buffs and stuff, and he gets some turn meter, but when it comes to playing with him, he's bad, and I don't even have him yet, and I just know not to get him. He is one of the worst characters in the game. I strongly suggest that you farm any other goblin there is besides Old Lore. Sergeant Pigwald might be another bad one, but I don't think he's bad enough to where he made my list. So definitely do not farm Old Lore. He is one of the worst characters in the game. Next up, I want to talk about Diesel Rog. I'm not going to say so much that bad of a character, but the Orc faction as a whole is kind of mediocre, to say the most. They might even be a little worse. And they are very important at the beginning of the game. When I say do not farm this guy, I think you'd be alright farming him, but I put the least I could into my orcs to get Soleus, the orc event to get Soleus. And once again, there's just other orcs you could get that are better than him to do the event. And he's not even that easy to farm. So I strongly recommend don't put any kind of currency or anything into him to get him. There's other orcs. I don't know anyone that uses him. I've never had any reason to use him. And I have put very, very little into him. What you see here is what I did when he first came out. When he first came out, it was one of the first characters, and I was like, oh, wow. And so I kind of started putting a little bit into him. Quickly I realized that there's better ones out there. And he's one of the worst orcs. Except for one other orc, and we'll talk about her right now. Mortha. To me, maybe someone else disagrees, Mortha is one of the worst characters in the whole entire game. She hits like a wet noodle. She is a wet noodle, and she's a healer. Her healing, her chain healing, isn't that good. They heal 3 random allies, and they don't even heal that much. And she is just not good. The one thing I liked about her, like once again, you will probably have to use her in the beginning of the game, but when put the least amount you can into her. And this is kind of cool where she gives the ally with the lowest health a shield equal to 280% of Mortha's magic. That's still not much, but when you're first playing the game, that little move there helps out a lot. And you can still put some into her and use her for the orc event, but still, I'd rather farm hard orc out of the stars, or there's one other person. Like, I would even suggest trying to go for Dieselrog, but honestly, there's other orcs to get besides Dieselrog and Mortha. If you can, do not farm her, but I kind of understand in the beginning of the game where you have to put something into her because she helps you a lot. So you kind of have to start out, but when you can, do not put any more into her because she is terrible when it comes to the end game. So do not farm her if you can. Next up, let's talk about Voyran the Trickster. To me, he is top 3 as one of the worst characters in the game. Once again, wet noodle. His kit is all about crit chance and damage, but for the most part, he doesn't do that much damage. And I can't say much because I don't have him, but I know a very select few people who do have him, and he's just not useful. He's in the Pride. There's a Pride event coming up, and I have a feeling that you can use him, but I would not want to make him level or gear 11 just to be able to kind of get by in the event. So I strongly suggest you do not go for this guy, because even though his kit looks cool, it does not convert. He does not walk the walk, and he gives out poison. That's kind of cool, but it just doesn't do anything really. This move removes the stacks of poison you have, dealing 100% damage for each stack removed, but it's just very situational. You have to have poison on him to do that much damage, and it's not even that much when it happens. And let's see, this move, it deals 420% of physical damage if the target is poisoned, and it gives out poison. What I'm saying is they have to be poisoned to really do anything. It's situational. And so I would not put anything. There's tons of Pride characters. Do not go for Voyran. He is one of the worst characters there are. Some people may disagree with me, but I will not be putting anything into him at this moment, unless he's needed for some kind of event or something else, or gets a rework. Alright, next up we have Sinjil. Once again, top 3, top 4 worst characters in the game. He's a healer. He heals and heals and heals. Everything he does is heals. And still doesn't matter. He can't stay alive long enough to heal anyone. And when he does, it's not that great. You're kind of like, that's it. I would not put a cent anything into this guy. There's other elves to get. He just isn't good. Heals a target ally by 500% of Sinjil's magic damage. Well, guess what? He puts out nearly none, nada, nilch, no magic damage. And the regeneration's nice and everything, but he does not. This doesn't do good enough. Like, he's worthless. And this puts regeneration stacks on everyone. But he almost dies before he can do any of this. And so I think he burns with this too, but it just doesn't help. And when it came to the elf event, I had to farm Phalia out of the tournament store. I didn't get Ember the first try because of Sinjil. I put all kinds of stuff into him, and he was terrible. Do not get this guy. He is absolutely terrible. No matter what. Like, take the time and farm like Phalia or Wonder Lula out of the stores. You'd rather do that than put anything into this guy. I can't tell you how bad he is. Do not put him in. He's a squishy. He's moist. Like, he's worse than Squishy. He's moist. And he is terrible. So next up, we have Foul. Foul is a panda, and she's one of the better characters on this list. But the one thing I think that makes her... Oh, when I say she's the best one on this list, that's not saying much. The only thing that makes her good or viable in, like, the panda event, you could use her in the panda event, I think it'd be fine, is this, where it gains a dodge increase and applies it to all allies for 2 turns. That one move is what makes her one of the better characters on this list. She's still a piece of crap. She sucks. Do not farm her. There's plenty of other pandas to farm when it's time to farm them. You have lots of options. Do not put anything into her. She's not that great. She just isn't good. There's not much more to say about her, except, like I said, everything else is trash but that one move. So, if you want to put the least amount into her to do the panda event, I would understand, but do not put much into her at all, if anything. Alright. Next up, we have Kellerian. Kellerian is absolutely trash. I've had people, when I talk about Kellerian, defend him and say that, he's not that bad, whatever. So people are going to not agree with me on this. He is trash. He's top 10 trash. I've used him a lot. I used him in the elf event, and he did just enough, I guess you could say. But he's squishy for a tank. I would almost go out of my way not to have him taunt, because he would die right off the get-go. He's not good. This little move here doesn't do much. Doesn't do much. It's an AoE. His passive is increases magic armor. He's flimsy anyways, so that does no good, really. It helps, because he sucks as it is, but he's not good. His basic isn't good either. Land a critical hit, great, because you put no damage out at all, and you're flimsy. And that about sums it up for him. There's other elves you could get. You might have to go, if you're free to play in your beginning, you might have to kind of farm him up to do the elf event. So, but if you can, do not put anything into him. If it's between him and Singiel, though, go for Kellerian. He's a lot better than Singiel. Singiel is absolute trash. So, once again, he's probably one of the better characters on this list. But still, if you can get around not putting anything to him, you won't regret it. You'll be a happy man that you didn't put anything into this guy. I hate this guy for some reason. He just makes me so mad in the past. And so, I just do not like him. Okay, Mega Wheel. I also have a lot of experience with Mega Wheel. Demons are a little bit harder to farm, but when you get to that point, it's not that bad. When you get farther down the road, you have quite a lot of options. When I say a lot, you don't have a lot. Do not farm Mega Wheel. Farm Puncher Face. Mega Wheel's terrible. He's a tank, but his kit relies on stacks of pain. And I'm not sure who else puts pain out here on the game, but there's not very many. He gives out, like, when he taunts, he removes 2 debuffs. I mean, that's okay, he recovers some health. But once again, he's kind of flimsy himself. Not as bad as Kellerian is, but he's flimsy also. I mean, can you gear him up and make him useful in the event? Yes. But in any other things, he's not good. I just do not suggest it. Like I said, he has to give pain. He applies pain on here, and then once you get... It's situational, once again. You have to have pain for him to do anything, and when he does, it's not impressive. It doesn't do much or anything. And see, this moves an AoE, and it removes all stacks of pain from the people, and then it adds 50% of physical damage for each pain removed. You have to stack up a bunch of pain to do anything, and when it does, it's underwhelming, to say the least. Do not farm this guy. He's pretty trash. Farm Puncher Face instead of Mega Wheel. All the other demons are pretty good. And you're going to find out he's like the one guy in the demons you do not want. go for Puncherface. If it's between him and Puncherface, go Puncherface. The rest of the demons are awesome. I love the demon faction and they're great. Do not farm Mega Wheel. You should not have to put anything into him. I'm so mad that I put all these ability mats into him. I have nothing to show for it. And so please do not make the mistake I did and farm this guy and put all the stuff that I did to him. Because he didn't make that big of a difference. And I wish I would have got Puncherface instead. Do not farm him. Alright, last and most certainly least, in my opinion, the worst character in the whole entire game is my man, Robin Bad. I mean, his name says it all. Since day one, everyone that said would warn you, do not get Robin Bad. He's terrible. Wet Noodle. Hits like a wet noodle. His kit is to get critical chance, I believe, and also offense, I believe. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of crit damage increase and all that. All the stuff for damage increase, 20% turn meter, all kinds of stuff. Crit chance increase, like all over the place, and it doesn't matter. If he had some good stats and put out some damage, he would be great. I have never seen a Gear 11 Robin Bad, and the God Mod Robin Bad, maybe he does something once you get to that point, but I suggest not to even look this character's way. Do not farm him. He's terrible. No matter what his kit says or what someone tells you, do not farm this guy. His name is Robin Bad. It's in the title. I have nothing against the model or anything. There's so many more humans. And if you go check out my legendary farm guide, you will be farming humans after you farm orcs. So they're not hard to get. There's lots of good humans. It's a great faction, but he is not only one of the worst humans, but a terrible, terrible, terrible character as far as kit and just performance. Once again, he does not walk the walk. And I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest do not even, like I said, look this guy's way. He is terrible. He's up there. Him and Voyran the Trickster are my two most, I'd say, top three. Voyran, Robin Bad, and Mortha are my three most hated. Like, they are not good. I suggest you stay far, far, far away from Robin Bad. And yeah, I mean, all you need to know is just stay away. So yeah, that's my top 10 worst characters in Dragon Champions. I'm sure I'll get a lot of, if you disagree, let me know. We'll talk about it in the comments if you want. Also, please join my Discord. Of course, hit subscribe if this helps you out or anything, but I feel like that when you're a free-to-play and you're starting out, it's almost easier to know who the worst characters are and who to stay away from than it is to know who the best ones are. Of course, you need to know who to work towards, but if you know who to stay away, it almost means if you stay away from these characters, you can't really go wrong. Like, everyone outside of these 10 are decent and you can't go wrong. And I believe that, because it was almost kind of hard to make this list 10 of them. Because I would say Kelrian and Foul, if you're going to put anything into any of these people, put them into these two. I think these are the two best characters in the whole list here. And if you need to, I wouldn't be mad at you if you put some stuff into him. And maybe Mega Will third. But I don't suggest anyone else going for them. I don't suggest you even go for these three if you can. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I hope this helped, and y'all have a good one.